So a car just came out of nowhere and nearly sideswiped you, and that's how you ended up in the Mueller's lane. Is that all you remember, Mrs. Barinholt? Mrs. Barinholt. Joanna.
Sorry, yes? Listen, I don't want any surprises. I need to know exactly what you told the police that night. I had to go through a lot of hoops to get this interview here rather than an interrogation room. All I need is for you to answer the questions asked. Are you sure you don't remember anything about the other car? The color? The size? Did they honk?
No, it all happened so fast. It was so dark and I just didn't see it.
Had you consumed any alcohol? Did they give you a sobriety test?
No.
Then you had no alcohol in your system. You got it? Just stay focused.
Tyler, pleasure to see you again.
Detective, come on in. My client is right in here. Can I offer you some water?
No, I'm good. Lovely home you have here, Miss Barinholt.
Oh, this is just the pool house. We're renovating our main house.
Let me say I was so glad to hear you were up and about so soon after your operation.
Thank you. I've always known God had a purpose for me. Now I have proof. Well, we should get started. I don't want to keep you too long. As I mentioned to Miss Tyler, I need to clarify certain details about the night of September 3rd. Now, I see that you refused a sobriety test. Is there any particular reason for that?
I'm sorry. I just didn't see the point. I mean, there were obviously more pressing matters to attend to.
Yes, there certainly were. Did you have anything to drink that night, Miss Barinholt?
Absolutely not.
In your own words, can you describe how the accident in question came about?
I was driving home.
Where were you coming from?
I'm sorry, is that any of your concern?
Continue.
I was driving home from my friends, going down 225, when I heard a loud honk, and then I saw a pair of headlights swerve into me, which knocked me into the other lane, where I hit a car coming the opposite direction. Next thing I remember, I was being pulled from my car.
Did the car hit you?
No,
Are you sure?
I just swerved in my lane.
A green car came out of nowhere and sideswiped me, pushing me into another lane. It wasn't my fault. Do you remember saying those words, Miss Barinholt?
That was a long time ago, and as she said, it all happened so fast. Surely she can't be expected to remember such details.
She certainly remembered them that night. Am I to assume the night's recalling of events are more accurate than today's? If so, I'm afraid it gets quite worse. You see, there was no evidence of a third car. No third set of tracks, no scrapes of paint, nothing.
Well, that's because I didn't hit it. I was just confused that night. I thought I hit it, but I didn't. Really? Am I to be expected to remember every minute detail that happened on an accident days ago?
Obviously, Mrs. Barinholt had just been through a very serious accident, and she was confused about what she was saying. It's safe to say that in the state she was in, she could have easily imagined impact. Now, if there's nothing else...
Actually, there is. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Mueller didn't make it. They died within hours of each other early this morning. This means that you are looking at a vehicular manslaughter charge.
What? How did you let this happen?
What about the little girl?
She continues to fight for her life, even though she has no family to live for. She's an orphan now.
What about me? What about this manslaughter charge? This is just ridiculous. They can't do that. Do something. What do I pay you for?
Johanna, Detective Mrs. Barinholt is obviously reeling from this horrendous news. She is not herself. If we could just have a moment.
Looks to me like she's more herself than ever. Using her husband's notoriety to get out of taking a sobriety test, having her high-priced lawyer keep her out of an interrogation room. Throwing blame on a made-up car? I don't care who your family is or who they know. I'm going to be here to make sure you pay for what you've done.
You can try as hard as you want. But I'm going to walk. My family's connections run far and deep. You have no idea.
Detective, I'll show you to the door. We've answered all your questions.
More than you know.